Hey, here with EasyCaters.com, and today I actually just want to tell you a short, kind of a funny story about how I was able to get into GME 2 days before the big breakout actually happened. And so I want to walk you through that trade. Now, I trade with relative volume, which is an indicator I developed, some certain settings in that indicator that allow me to identify areas where a lot of the shares of the stock are being accumulated on a pullback or being dumped on a rally. And so I use that to look for the bottoms of pullback. So part of my trading plan is essentially, you can see over here on my left-hand side, I have no secrets as far as that goes. I basically, I look for stocks that are in a relative strength uptrend. It's, some very simple criteria. They're, above their moving averages, that kind of thing. Moving averages are stacked. But they also have to have a relative strength to the market for me to be able to trade it. And so those are a couple of criteria I have. Then I have my system pull in here every week. It pulls in setups that either had a weekly relative volume signal. It might indicate some accumulation just happened, or a daily after maybe last week had a signal, that kind of thing. So this scan right here pulls in all the potential setups for me, and I look through these each day and each weekend. And then any ones that I like at the time, then I go ahead and drag them up here and hunt for entries on them. And so any that I find entries on, then I move them up here to my positions and I keep track of all that. So that's kind of how I work. I go through a very basic trading plan, and most weeks are not going to be like this week with GME. But occasionally you do have one that comes along that's just a little bit unusual and does something that you weren't expecting. You just, follow the plan. You limit the downside, but at the same time, you're exposing yourself to some potential upside. And the upside can be unlimited. If you limit the downside and leave the upside unlimited, that's kind of the name of the game with trading, keeping your winners bigger than your losses. So anyway, the story goes that basically I had just a textbook entry here on my weekly time frame. As far as my trading plan allows me, I look for a weekly pullback with a relative volume signal at the lows, and then I go into the daily chart on the daily time frame and hunt for an entry. And so on this particular day, this was the pullback week that had the relative volume signal. I saw this nice little base here. We broke out above that base on this green day that you can see here. And so I got in at those highs. And I only was able to enter, I think it was either a quarter position or a half position. I scale in that way and look for later entries as I can. And so as you can see, I got in 2 days before the big spike started. And I can show you over here on TraderView. This is my trading journal. And so you can see all my trades that I've been taking over the past month or two here. Couple of months. And so GME is right here, entered on 111 and exited on 113. So if you go over here to the trade detail, you can see what that looks like. And so this is kind of the punchline. I was only able to enter a half a position and just kind of waiting around for it to do something, pull back a little bit, give me another entry, that kind of thing. And it never did. And I enter all my orders with brackets, so I had a stop and a profit target already in place. And so the morning that the spike happened and started, it immediately sold me out before I even knew anything about it, really. So that's kind of the punchline that, I did get into the GME breakout 2 days before it happened, and I would have participated in that whole move, at least with a partial position. But on all my orders, I enter a profit target at 2 or 3 times the risk amount to take half of my position off at that point. So I already had that programmed in, and so I missed out on the big move, unfortunately. But luckily, some of my family actually participated in it, so we were able to at least get some benefit out of it. But anyway, so and you can actually see on AMC, which was the other big breakout that is in the news right now, AMC actually had a pretty nice weekly relative volume signal over here as well, indicating where the lows were. and indicating, so there's basically two types of volume signal. There's the breakout volume, and there is the absorption volume is what I call it. And so I look for absorption signals at the lows of pullbacks, breakout volumes or breakout signals when levels are being crossed, and when new spikes or breakouts are happening, that kind of thing. You can kind of see. So this was absorption volume at the top, and this was absorption volume at the bottom and at the lows over here. So that's how I look at it. So AMC was actually able to, you could have gotten into AMC pretty easily as well. There was a nice little base here, broke out above the base. The volume would have hinted to you that the breakout might be coming, or at least a reversal on the longer time frame. And so that would have been a nice textbook entry there. The only thing is this was not a relative strength stock, so it didn't end up showing up in my scans at all. It's not something that I would trade currently anyway. So, but if you were just going off of the relative volume signals and the price action and everything, then that would have been a nice textbook entry. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that the two big breakouts that happened this week, relative volume found them both, and I participated a little bit, at least a little bit in one of them. And I know some of my family and a lot of other people out there are enjoying it as well. So good for you guys, and hope that helped. If you're interested in relative volume and learning more about it, I have a whole playlist here on the channel, and you can pick up the indicator on my website at easykaters.com. So guys, if this was helpful in any way, please hit like and subscribe below. Hit the little bell icon so you get an alert whenever I post a new video, and I will see you next time. Thanks.